Welcome back, episode 91 of the Reseller Locker Room podcast. We're sitting down with another UT volunteer. It's Stuart. We're going to pick his brain in what he does, making money, reselling.
Flip or die. The Resellers Locker Room podcast. The Resellers of entertainment and zero instruction. Out on the road hitting thrift store gold. Three wild men with stories untold. Beard kings growling, Rocky Tops wild. CJ's laughing like a metalhead child. Sipping brews in a cheap motel. Talking deals and tales we never sell. This ain't no class, it's a backstage pass to the resale game with some serious sass. Flip or die. We're living fast in the reseller sky.
Oh, yes, ladies, gentlemen, and put your kids to bed. This is the Reseller Locker Room podcast. My name is Ben, the Rocky Top Picker, followed by Alex, the Beard King Picker, Jefferson, CJ Benz Finds, and our very special guest. He is a Tennessee man. Welcome Stewart into the locker room, folks. How y'all doing, guys?
Good. I'm
Fabulous.
great. Looked like someone got a little too excited backstage with this new layout, but well, oh well.
Yeah, it's
I'm
nice.
doing great.
Good, Stuart. Put your comments down below, ladies and gentlemen, if you like the new background there. I just kind of threw that together. I wanted to give a fresh background for Stuart to appear on.
Yeah, no, it looks good. Good job, Ben.
Yeah,
All right.
what about my background?
Yeah, that's cool, man.
It looks pretty organized for a reseller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
That's
those
thanks to my-
cubbies.
Yeah, that's thanks to my wife. It's funny. Whenever I used to have a real job and I'd always travel a lot and I'd be out of town, and invariably that's when I'd sell the most stuff. And Amy would call me, where's the so-and-so? It's underneath the, piece of cardboard shoved in the corner over there. And she goes, we got to do something about this, and help me come up with this cubby system. And yeah, I've got like about 8 of those around the room here. So
Wow, that's organized. Well, Stuart, tell our audience members who you are, where you're from, and give us some background on what you did before reselling and how you got into reselling.
all right. Well, I'm Stuart White, or Stuart as Wes calls me on the Founders Flippers Resale podcast. I'm in Knoxville, Tennessee, so God's country over here, home of the Big Orange. And AKA Franklin Hill Ventures is my business name. So I've been reselling for really as long as I can remember. I probably got started in elementary school. My mom would bake brownies and I'd take them to school and sell them to the other kids. And then once I started riding the bus to school, I'd go to the little convenience store at the bus stop, buy blow pops, and then sell them to the other kids at school. So yeah, I got started early on with the reselling, and have 2 brothers, and we're real competitive, and we've always been like who can go pick the best stuff at yard sales and sell it for the most on eBay, even before I was doing this like big time. Although my wife's the one who first got us into eBay back in 98, so back in the very early days, and she was buying and selling kids' clothes because we have 4 kids, and they were all, I guess our first one was born in 96, and so we had two young kids at home then. But yeah, back when I was in the corporate world, I was in IT. I was the IT director for a company that fixed medical equipment. So was in and out of hospitals a lot, and have been full-time now for 4 years. 2021, like August of 2021 is when I went full-time. Sell mostly under the vintage and antique umbrella. Like any reseller, I'll pretty much sell anything I can find for $1 and sell for $2, but I pretty much stay in the vintage and antique lane. I have 3 antique booths here in the Knoxville area, selling 6 online platforms, cross post all those. I do live selling on Whatnot, do some local stuff on Facebook Marketplace, and I guess that's about it. So stay busy for sure.
What platforms do you sell on? You said 6.
Yeah, let's see if I can remember them all here. So eBay, which is still, like for most people, it's my number 1 platform as far as revenue.
Mhm.
Etsy, Poshmark, Macari, Facebook Marketplace. Actually do quite a bit of shipping on Facebook Marketplace. And then recently, thanks to Johnny, Frizzy's Finds got reinstated on Depop. So, I mean, it's probably an exaggeration to say I'm selling there, but I do list things on Depop, but I very rarely make a sale. But with the tool I use for cross posting, I mean, it doesn't add really any time to the process. Then selling Whatnot and also selling District on the Knickknacks marketplace on there. The only live selling I do is on Whatnot, though I don't do the live selling on District. I've done a few shows, but really with the stuff I sell, Whatnot's better suited. But yeah, the big surprise this last week is the Whatnot marketplace has really kicked in. I've sold 8 things on the Whatnot
Yeah, I heard that.
marketplace in the last 7 days, so it's been crazy.
Wow.
That's pretty good. I've only sold 1 book over there, but I haven't listed a lot over there. But I've been looking back into cross promoting, so it looks like maybe because I saw your post earlier today. It looks like Whatnot Marketplace might be getting traction now.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, it could just be
Might be something we need to all think about.
But yeah, I mean, any sales I make on there are like bonus because I don't really expect it. So
yeah.
How many live shows do you do a week, Stuart?
So I'm really down to just doing one every other week. I sell mainly in the ephemera category. So I've been on Whatnot for almost 5 years and 4 years. I mean, I was one of the early people in the ephemera category, back when they actually used to vet you before they let you on Whatnot. Now I think all you do is just give them your name and you can instantly sell, which is crazy because there's obviously people in there who've never sold before in their life, and it's like the absolute worst platform to try to start on if you've never sold anything or shipped anything. So yeah, I do a show of average about every other week, sometime a little more, sometime a little less. Like I did a pop-up vinyl show the other day because I went to a kind of a private pick and got a bunch of Grateful Dead and Bob Dylan and Led Zeppelin albums, and
Nice.
just thought, well, I'll just sell those on Whatnot because I figured they'd go quick, and they did. So yeah, I enjoy it. It's kind of just a break from the same old listing every day, and as you said, the reselling can be kind of a lonely, occupation. So it's a little bit of a social outlet too, I guess. That and going to the thrift shop are my 2 social outlets I get. So
That's fun. How's Whatnot been going for you? Got a pretty decent following over there? I mean, you said you were been in there early, or you got in early.
yeah, I mean, the ephemera category is kind of tough. I mean, there's only so many types of ephemera you can sell. So that's one reason I started going every other week, because it allows me, rather than spending so much time trying to get ready for a show, I just kind of in the course of my normal listing, as I find things, I just throw them up for the next show I have. And I mean, I usually do anywhere between $400 to $600 in a show.
Oh, nice.
But I mean, it's not as good as it used to be back when there weren't as many people selling in that category. And, you know, I don't know. I just think the same things tend to get recycled around to all the different buyers. And I used to say Whatnot was a circular economy especially in the ephemera category. I would buy something from somebody, then resell on Whatnot and go to another seller, and it just keep looping around the Whatnot world there. But
How are you sourcing items like that? Is that something online that you're
no,
looking on
well,
auction?
it's really mainly so. So the ways I source primarily are, I mean, I still go to yard sales and estate sales, and I mean, yard sales are probably where you get your number one margin items, but it's just hard to get enough stuff to to support a full time reselling income. Um, and then I also do thrift shops. I mean, I have this thrift shop I go to every day where I'm like Norm from Cheers. I walk in the door and they're like Stewart, but but really, most of my stuff now comes from just relationships I built. I mean, anytime I'm at yard sales, estate sales, thrift shops, I mean, I'm handing my business cards out like candy.
Mhm.
And then people coming into the antique malls where I have booths, I work at those a couple of times a month and meet people there. And I usually get 3 to 4 calls a week now from people who have, my grandmother died, or, we're selling our house, or this or that. And that's where I find a lot of my ephemera. It's just doing those kind of private picks.
Yeah.
like this last one, when I mentioned the record albums, I also got a couple of old photo albums and things of that nature from those. So yeah, most of my ephemera stuff comes from a combination of estate sales and those private picks I end up getting.
Yeah, that's kind of a category I'm slowly getting into, just because I've been doing all these big book buyouts, and there's all this ephemera inside of the books
Yeah.
of the old books. So I'm like, well, now I guess I need to learn about this stuff. Maybe just doing it live selling too. I'm not sure, but I found some pretty cool pieces so far. But I know nothing
Have you
about it.
found money in your books yet?
Money, yeah, I found $100. That was at the Goodwill bins. I found $100 before.
That's cool. Yeah, I found somebody's haircut money. It had an envelope that said haircuts, and it had like $60 in there.
That's
So
an expensive haircut.
I know. I guess it was for their, I don't know, maybe their annual budget for haircuts.
Or it was a woman, and that's probably one trip to the salon, $60.
And they were like 1970 something issued currency, so they've
1970.
been in
That
these
was a couple
books
years
for,
worth of haircuts, I would think. In
yeah, so they
1970,
were,
$60.
Do you do a lot of volume out of your booths?
yeah. I mean, and that's, so we started, I've had booths now for 8 years, and I started in Clinton, which is north of Knoxville, for those of you who don't know, with a little half a booth. There used to be an auction I went to back when there were still in-person auctions around here pre-COVID. And a lady came up to me after the auction and said, "Hey, I noticed the kind of stuff you buy. I think you'd do really well at the antique mall where I have a booth." So Amy and I went down there, I guess, that Friday and went ahead and got a booth. And all they had was this little half booth. And you literally had to turn sideways to get in it. And we shared it with these people who took like liquor bottles and made, I don't know, stuff out of them. I never literally saw anything in that booth change. And they were only there for the first month we were there. So then they moved out and we went to a full booth, and then the booth next to us came open. We went to 2, and eventually we ended up with 4 booths there in Clinton, and that's what we have today. And we're literally right inside the front door, so primo location.
Wow.
And then I'm at two places in Knoxville, Bearden Antique Mall and West End Antiques, both in West Knoxville. And yeah, I mean, it just gives me an outlet. Like, I saw a ton of artwork out of the booths. That's one thing, and it's just hard to do that other places. I mean, I've shipped artwork before, but it sells a lot better in the booth. Furniture, of course, sells really well in the booths. I sell a ton of books. Like in my Clinton, I have a kind of a media nook where I have records and books, and have a chair in there where people can sit down, and you see people come in there and they'll spend hours looking through all the records. And so yeah, it's been a good outlet for me. And it's, as I mentioned, it's also there. I have a lot of opportunities to source stuff, people coming in, either bringing stuff in or coming in telling you they have stuff for sale.
That's cool.
Are you looking up sold comps on that stuff before you put in the booth on eBay?
Yeah, and I've been doing it long enough now. I have a pretty good idea of what's going to sell best in the booth versus what's going to sell best online. A lot of times I can get more in the booth than what the sold comps for sale online, because you get more of impulse buy.
Yeah.
And the people coming in antique malls, I mean, fortunately there are a fair number of young people who come in, but it still trends older. So it's not necessarily people who are, comping everything they look at. They just see, hey, this cast iron waffle iron is really cool. Yeah, I'll pay $150 for it. And so
Yeah, it's I think the younger generations are not as much into antique items. I mean, you might think the same way, but I've just noticed in times I used to do a lot of antiquing when I was collecting antique soda bottles, antique signage. I always looked around at everywhere I went, and it was mainly older people that were really shopping antiques, not the young generation. But out of static selling, like on eBay, let's say, and you doing live selling and you doing booth selling, so you've got a brick and mortar presence, you've got a live selling presence, and you have a static listing presence. Which is your favorite method?
I would say, oh, no. One other thing, we also have gotten into private labeling, like jams, jellies, and pickles too. So,
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
we'll do festivals, and I sell them out of the booths, but then we'll set up at festivals and sell these as well. and we have them made for us in Amish country up in Pennsylvania. My biggest challenge with these is not to eat all my profits because they're so good. But
You got apple butter?
yeah, that one's apple pecan butter there. But then we also have salsas. Like here's a ghost pepper salsa.
Dude,
We have tons
All
of
right,
jellies.
we need some of that at the meetup so we can do some testing.
Well,
taste testing.
these
Yes.
will actually be giveaways for the meetup. So
Oh, cool.
let me tell you, man, a biscuit slapped with apple butter, you can't beat it.
well,
Can't-
the best butter we have is the peach butter, in my opinion. So the peach butter's
Ooh.
really, really good. So I eat that stuff by the spoonful. But getting back to the question, I mean, probably I would definitely say like the online selling's not my favorite just because I mean it's exciting when you sell stuff, but just the work of listing stuff is not, my favorite thing in the world. I would say probably the booth stuff just because um I mean I enjoy getting in there and setting it up and making it look good and all that, but also just the excitement of when you walk in, not knowing what you've sold and the variety of stuff you can sell out of there. I enjoy the live selling as well, but I don't do it as much as the other stuff. So I would say the antique booths are probably my favorite.
How are
You
you?
think if we stuck Jefferson in one of your booths, he would sell?
I was going to say the same thing, but put Ben in the booth.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe when we have like a 20% off weekend or something.
Dang.
I go cheap.
You go cheap.
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's talk about
Yeah.
time management. It sounds like you have a lot of irons in the fire. Selling on across
Yeah.
8 platforms. Live selling takes a lot of time. And the booth, you have 4 different. Are they all in the same location, or you have to drive different locations?
No, they're the Clinton one's about 30 minutes north of Knoxville, and then the other two are about 2 miles apart from here in West Knoxville. So those aren't far from my house. So yeah, I do have to drive to all of them though.
And are you going in there like once a week to check to
Yeah,
restock or?
Yeah, I average going in each of them about once a week, because, when people ask me, I've tried a booth, it didn't work for me, or, how did, our booths, worth it? And I mean, for me anyway, and I think a lot of it's dependent on where you're located. Knoxville's fortunate that we get a lot of tourist traffic coming through, going to the mountains and stuff. And then like my 2 West Knoxville booths are close to Sequoia Hills, which is the old money part of Knoxville. So you get a lot of interior decorators where Clinton's a lot more transient traffic, get a lot of people coming off the interstate coming into Clinton. And if you Google top 10 antiquing destinations, Clinton shows up a lot as a top 10. So, it is a destination type place for antiquing. And I'll just give a quick plug. The last weekend in September, same weekend as the Reseller meetup, actually, they're having the big fall festival in Clinton where they close all the streets down. There's street vendors, live music, food trucks, and just a really good time. And all the antique malls in town will do big sales. And there's probably 10 or so antique malls all within like on the same street, so all within walking distance.
Yeah, I've got family that lives in Clinton. My first cousin is actually, I think she's superintendent of schools in Clinton. She started out just being a classroom teacher and worked her way up. So,
Wow.
Might have to make a detour on the way to Greensville then.
Clinton. Jefferson, you got some questions there, buddy? You look like you're working the air traffic control center.
No, I was looking something up. Yeah, I was listening. So you said you got back on Depop because I'm banned there. How do you do that?
So if you
Don't
want to
get banned.
if you want to get back on, reach out to my podcast partner,
Okay.
Johnny from Frizzy's Finds. He can send you a link. So the real quick story, and we have an episode you can watch all about this in detail. But Johnny and I both got banned from Depop about the same time, about a year ago, and he's a big clothes seller, so they were selling a ton on Depop. I mean, me not so much, but
Right.
so they had a counter. Depop said something was fake, even though it wasn't. So they got banned. But then, like about a month ago, I guess, Depop actually reached out to them. I mean, they didn't even solicit Depop and said, we noticed y'all talking about getting banned on Depop. Would you like to get back on? And they ended up meeting with like somebody from England and somebody from New York, and Basically now they have a link they can send to people, and you fill out a little form. And I mean, they reinstated me almost immediately. I got banned for selling an empty solvent container from like 1898 because you can't sell solvents on Depop. I mean, it was empty and it was 150 years old, but that didn't seem to matter. So
I got banned for selling a belt buckle that had a pocket knife in it. They didn't tell me anything. They just banned me and took my money. I was like,
Depop heard you guys talking about it on the podcast. Is that how?
Well, it was probably on one of because Johnny's wife, Frizzy's Fine, she's pretty big. She's got a really big Instagram following, and my guess is they probably heard him talking about it on there, and reached out to them and said basically apologized for banning them and put them back on, and then let them meet with a bunch of bigwigs to give suggestions and critique of the platform.
I think when I first got into reselling, I kind of messed around with Depop, but I don't think I've ever sold anything over there. Like, you don't hear that many resellers, at least in our community. I never hear that many people talking about Depop that often.
Well, it's really more in like Johnny's lane. It's a lot of clothes, and it's a lot of like streetwear type stuff, I think.
I was doing good with my belt buckles and my hats.
Did you model them? Because it always looks like people are modeling every picture I see on there. It's someone in the clothes. Like, it's different than eBay. You don't just see it like on a mannequin. They're like modeling the clothes. So
that's why you go there and buy lingerie.
Well, that's how you got banned, because you were just wearing the belt buckle and took a picture of yourself.
Just the belt buckle.
You need to sell bigger belt buckles, some loose big cowboy ones. It'll cover a little bit more there.
That'd be a good idea.
You, Stuart, you mentioned the podcast. You're one of the hosts of the Finders Flippers podcast channel here on YouTube. Tell us how that got started and what's going on over there with you guys.
So, Wes had his Slim Flippers channel where he just interviewed different people. Not just resellers. He interviewed like the mayor of Knoxville one time and some other like semi-celebrity people. And then I saw him on the Nashville Flippers, I think is who I saw him on. And I thought, man, that guy looks familiar. And then I heard his name, Wes, and then kind of put two and two together. He was Wes Sperling, and we went to rival high schools here in Knoxville. We went to Doyle. I went to South Young. And I can remember my brothers playing basketball against him. And so I just reached out to him and said, hey, did you go to Doyle High School? I think, I remember you. And so we got to talking, and he said, hey, I'd like to have you on my Slim Flippers channel. And I guess he'd interviewed Johnny and Lizzie for Frizzy's Finds too. And then he was wanting to do a podcast. So Johnny, like, sure, we'll jump in. And, I think we're 72 episodes in, and, it's one of those we record once a week and enjoy doing it. And, so we put up with each other, and we've had a good time. So I guess we'll keep doing it.
That's great, man. All right. Let's talk about, let's get into this. And I know you're watching an auction coming up that's ending at 9. You got about 11 minutes.
Wait, what is it? I'm going to go snipe it real quick. No.
You can't snipe on eBay anymore, man.
Yeah, I know.
I got 9 minutes. You could play, what is it? 2 minutes, you said?
They reset.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
They reset it. Is what I heard.
Huh.
So, I was fortunate enough, as I said, to appear on your all's podcast. And did it drop today or is it tomorrow? I think it was today.
Tomorrow. So
okay.
I think it drops
they
around
decided
10
Ben
a.m.
not to put out that episode. It just didn't meet the standards, Ben.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's talk about meetups, Stuart, specifically your thoughts on reseller meetups. If you've attended any, if you have, what was your experience? What are your pluses of them and what are your minuses of them? And because we have a lot of people who watch this that have never been to one, I suspect, and they may be thinking about coming to the current one here in the state, which is coming up, as you can see on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, September 26th through the 28th. Give us your opinions and thoughts on meetups.
Well, I went to the first two Boss Reseller remixes in Vegas. I guess the first one, I went as a guest of a podcast that was around back then that was part of List Perfectly. And, I had literally just gone full time. So even with them giving me the ticket, I was still having to pay airfare and hotel. And I'm like, man, can I afford to leave my reselling that I've just started doing full time for a week? Because this was a week-long thing. And, go to this. And, so in the end, I made the decision to go. And, uh, that was my first experience with like being around a huge crowd of resellers. And I mean, it was a good enough experience that I went back the next year and took my wife. And I mean, it was a little different than the format of like what y'all are doing and the Nashville one that happened a month or two ago. It had speakers and a lot of fun stuff too, and a lot of just mingling and networking. But there were different sessions on things. But that was great. And then I went to one called Camp List Perfectly that List Perfectly put on, and it was kind of in between the Boss Reseller Remix and the Nashville and what you're doing, where it did have some program, but it was a lot. It was all in one hotel versus like all around the city of Vegas. And then I've done some just like informal get-togethers with resellers. I know the ladies from Consignment Chats invited Amy and I to come to Gatlinburg last year, and we were there with them, and like I'd Flip That was there, and some other resellers, and that was a good time. Just no agenda at all, just hanging out in the chalet and doing a little bit of drinking and stuff. But yeah, for anybody who's never been, and if you're on the fence, I mean, especially one like this, there's no cost other than your travel and your hotel. I mean, there's no like, seminar fees or anything like that. But, if you're looking to put like a dollar for dollar return on things, that might be hard to do. But the intangibles of just the relationships you'll build and all the people you'll meet, you'll make lifelong friends, and you'll learn so much just, talking to other people. And and if you're somebody who watches YouTube videos, you'll get to meet a lot of those people in person, which can be a good experience. It's funny, when I went to the first Boss Reseller Remix, I'd never watched a YouTube video in my life. And so I go, and like there's all these people like Harry Tornado coming in and other people. And I mean, all these like people are kind of fangirling out over it. And I was standing in line, and I think it was Josh and his wife who were standing behind me, Harry Tornado. And I introduced myself, and then people kept coming up to him, and I was like, man, are you like somebody big or something? It's like everybody knows. He goes, well, we have a YouTube channel. I said, well, I'll apologize. I have no idea who you are. And he goes, it's really refreshing to meet somebody who doesn't know who you are every once in a while. So, but yeah, I mean, if you've never been, I would encourage you to consider coming. I mean, this one, I've seen the agenda Ben's put together. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then I think there'll be a ton of opportunity just to get around and talk to people. I think you said you expected around 100 people there, which is a really good number. And yeah, I would just do it and take a chance if you've never done it. If not this one, find one that's, I know there's ones that happen all over the country in different areas. So even if you can't make it to Greenville, which if you've never been to Greenville, you really haven't lived. So I would make sure you try to make it there at least once. But
yes. Speaking of meetups all around the country, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with Metco Meetups channel, go put that in the search bar on YouTube, Metco Meetups channel. They release the schedule of meetups all over the country. You'll see videos of being in person at meetups. You'll get a feel for it if you've never been. Go check that out. It's also important, fellas, that we point out Stuart. He is an anchor sponsor to the East Tennessee Reseller Meetup, which means he's donated $100 to the cause to help make this event free for all that want to attend. And I want to pop this up and remind and talk just real briefly about all the other sponsors. The logos that are in large size are all anchor sponsors at the $100 level. All the smaller logos are an individual sponsorship at $20 donation. So we want to thank all these individuals here on screen for helping us make this meetup possible. Two other businesses, Rebel the Reseller is a $100 anchor sponsor. And Alex, what was the other one?
Max at Paper Gold podcast.
Yes, Max at Paper Gold. Actually, he
And,
came in at $300.
So
think
he
that's-
owns the meetup now, apparently.
Yeah. I just had to point that out. $300. What a generous amount
Yes,
that
And
he
that
because
is
of that,
right.
I had to start selling books. I mean,
Well, you did well. He found some good books already. So
Yeah.
Hey, so Stuart, what's the one thing people wouldn't know about you that would make them surprised?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good question. Oh, man, you're right to give me a minute to think about that.
All right. And we
Yeah,
know you're a
let's-
rebel. You got banned on Depop, but beyond that,
Well, I mean, if you've known me my whole life and know how big a UT fan I am, you would probably be surprised to learn that none of my kids went to UT. So
Yeah,
I
that
had
shocked me.
I had my oldest daughter go to College of Charleston, and then my second daughter went to Ole Miss, and then my youngest two, and this is the real aberration here. My youngest two went to Alabama. So,
isn't that the
but
enemy?
disown them.
my son did come back around. He got his master's at UT, and he's pretty much gotten rid of all his Alabama stuff and come back around to the light. So,
Alex,
and,
What?
Alex, if you're anybody but Tennessee, you are the enemy.
I saw a guy yesterday here in Nashville with the Tennessee hat, Tennessee shirt, matching shorts, and slides at the gym, all
There
orange.
you go.
Yeah,
yeah,
baby.
that's pretty typical.
Yeah, he was just all in orange. I'm like, it's Trump. Oh no, never mind. It's just Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
Stuart, do you get a chance to go to any of the football games or the basketball games? Do you do any of that?
I go to a lot more of the basketball games than I do the football games. I mean, I used to love going to the football games, and I still do, but football's an all-day commitment. It's not like basketball where you can, leave an hour and a half for the game, go to the game, be home, and now with the big screens, and I've been doing enough. So
If I lived in Knoxville, Stuart, where you do,
You be
yeah,
if the ball game kicked off on Saturday night, my butt would be down there camping out on a Wednesday night, and it would be party, party, party all the way to the end of the game.
yeah, I was like that at one
tickets
point,
are
but I don't
crazy
know.
expensive.
I've mellowed out in my old age, so it's-
Yeah, that's a trip, man.
How much
Hey,
how much are season tickets?
oh,
oh,
they're way too
Insane.
much. So
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
just like
just
a
to show
single
you how
game.
bad I used to be. I mean, of course, I scheduled my whole life on everything UT when I was in college and a young adult. And when I first started dating Amy, we went camping over in Bryson City, and I could not. I think UT was playing Alabama that day, in fact, and. I would have been okay listening to it on the radio, but we were down this valley and you couldn't pick up any stations. So I was like, "Hey, Amy, you want to go for a ride?" And so we take off, and we get to where we can pick up the game, and it hadn't started yet. So we start getting closer and closer to Gatlinburg, and I'm like, we're almost to Gatlinburg. We should just go eat lunch. So we go somewhere and eat lunch, where they have the game. I'm like, well, while we're here, let's just watch the game before we go back to the campground. So we, end up blowing the whole day, and Amy, she was not a sports fan back then. Now, once all our kids started playing sports, she turned into one. But
does she know? Does she know that you catfished her into all that? Or
well, so then the bad thing is we get back to the campground, and when we got back, it was like the most eventful day ever. Like somebody had killed a bear, and like they said, most of the day it was in the creek where it was cold, but by the time we got there, it was gone. And I don't know, there were like 3 or 4 other things, like really once in a lifetime cool things that happened that we all missed, or we both missed, because I had to go to Gatlinburg to listen to or watch the UT games. So it took a long time before she let me live that one down.
Yeah, you got to have priorities. I understand.
Yeah.
true fans make sacrifices. Yeah.
But, I will say, I mean, and I'm still crazy about UT, but once my kids started playing sports and I was forced to miss stuff, I mean, I never really got back that exact same, like, just everything else is secondary, like it was when I was younger. Cause I mean, I had 4 kids. They all did travel sports. So we, one kid, I'd take one kid, Amy would take one kid, would farm the other 2 off. Because there's 5 years to the day between my kids. My oldest and youngest have the same birthday. So they were all kind of that travel sports age at the same time. I mean, we could probably be like millionaires with all the money we spent on that stuff, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was awesome. So,
Well, back in the day when I had my wedding venue and I DJ'd receptions and stuff, I would black out every date where the Vols were playing on TV, and I would just not take any bookings. So I made sacrifices so that I could either be in Knoxville or be in front of the TV watching the game. But, I'm a big fan. What can I say?
I guess that was back when every game went on TV. Now you'd have to black out every weekend. So
yeah, I kind of do that now. I make sure when football season starts, my Saturdays are not filled with very much. But anyway, let me pop this in real quick. We want to thank all of our paid sponsors or paid subscribers, rather, to the Reseller Locker Room podcast. Wolfman Goodies, Mike Camparelli, Mary McQueen, CJ Benz Finds, Vintage Sports Flips, Good Water Pickers, Rick Rotman, Reselling with Woody, Eagles and Beagles, and the one and only Biscuit Butt. All right. Where are we moving to next here, gentlemen?
I don't know, but I'm addicted to these sunflower seeds. Taco Supreme.
Taco Supreme.
Yeah, I don't know.
I tried to quit chewing tobacco with sunflower seeds, but back then they only had plain and like dill pickle. So maybe
they have the dill pickle. I don't like pickles, so I never try them. But I like barbecue ones. But these taco ones are pretty good.
I'll have to check.
I'm trying not to eat them while I record a podcast, but
yeah, please.
They're pretty good. Well, I'll just do that and get some ice and shake and eat some sunflower
seeds.
Look,
man. Hey. You can't hear my drink no more. I learned my lesson. I ain't real bright. Thank God I'm pretty.
About that.
I am not the eye candy. I know.
Now,
that's Ben.
Stuart, what all do you do as far as the different social medias? What all are you on, and what do you do on those?
Oh, I'm most active probably on Instagram and then my Facebook page. So Instagram's franklin.hill.ventures, and then Facebook's just search Franklin Hill Ventures, or you can just go to franklinhillventures.com, and I've got links to everything I'm involved in. Really started getting back more into putting some TikTok videos out. But
no YouTube.
Yeah, I do have a YouTube that I put shorts on. In fact, I mean, the podcast kind of inspired me to start doing some videos again. But I mean, they're all shorts. I haven't done any long form videos in a while. I guess the last one I did was when I cleaned my garage out a couple of years ago. So
yeah, your Instagram, you put a lot into that. That's where I see most of all your content is when I'm on Instagram, and there's some good stuff you put on there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to make a concerted effort to post at least one thing a day, whether it's a video or just a post. And for the most part, been sticking to it pretty well. And I cross post most of my little videos I do to TikTok, Instagram, and my YouTube channel.
So going back to your podcast, did you originate that with Wes, or did you all just kind of come together and make that decision to?
I know when Wes first started it, he originally, I can't remember, he had somebody else helping him on the first couple of episodes. We kind of rebooted it after about episode 8 with Johnny, Wes, and me. I mean, it was all kind of Wes's baby to start with. And, he invited Johnny and I in. So, yeah, it was, I mean, I didn't really have a lot to do with starting it. That was mostly Wes is the one who got it all going. So
okay. Well, you're going to be attending the meetup.
Yep.
What are you most excited about when it comes to attending the first ever East Tennessee reseller meetup?
Well, I mean, probably just getting to go to Greenville would be the first thing, but no, just the meeting all these.
No. You should be saying hanging out with us in person should be the first.
That's
thing.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
In addition to the host of the Reseller Locker Room podcast, I'm very excited just to meet some new friends and pick people's brains, and really just put. I don't know if it's really put faces with names because you've seen them, but put a real person with these people that you see on YouTube, and then there's going to be a ton of people there who don't have social media presence. And, despite what a lot of people think, I mean, you do not have to have social media to be successful in reselling. And I
Yeah.
mean, I know some very,
That's-
very successful resellers who
Yeah.
don't ever show their face on anything. And
That's true.
really, the time we spend doing this kind of stuff, if you just spend it listing, you probably make more money. But who? Hey,
You definitely would, but you'd probably be bored out of your mind and might go crazy. I mean, I think doing this helps us a lot. Take a break too.
Yeah.
All I've
Yeah.
been doing since I got up is reselling. I mean, I'm still talking about reselling, but I just been listing and packing all day. So
Well, I mean, most of the people who do social media do it, solely because they enjoy it. Because, I mean, we
Yeah.
haven't even monetized yet on our channel, but I know we've talked to a few people who have monetized, and you're not getting rich. There's only a few
Mhm.
people getting rich off YouTube and other sites. So you're doing it because you love it and you like the company, and like you said, it's a break from the mundane stuff that you do every day with reselling. Because there's I know before you like start doing a lot of reselling, and everybody wants to be a full-time reseller, but it's not all fun and games. It's a lot of mundane days, and you know slow days, and waiting for that next busy day to come. And
Yeah.
That kind of leads into my next question. Speaking of slow days, and we're kind of in eBay summer slowdown. Do you experience that in different times in the store as well? The antique malls? Like, are you in
I
a summer
mean,
slowdown or
yes,
not the
yes
same?
and no. I mean, I don't think I see the same like selling vintage and antique. I don't know that you get the extreme slowdowns like you might like with clothing and things of that nature. I mean, I've been tracking. I mean, I'm a numbers person, so I track my stuff pretty closely. And um, like July is my absolute going back. I think I'm on my 8th year of keeping records, and July is my slowest month historically. But I am on pace to do my best July ever by quite a bit this month, so that's good. But it still doesn't compare like to other months. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I definitely see a slowdown in the summer, and like January, February, November, December, kind of that 4 month stretch tends to be like my busiest or most profitable months. So yeah, I definitely see it. I just I try to list through it, and um, my goal is always to like add a new revenue stream every year of some sort. Like one year I added the Franklin Hill Farms jams and jellies and stuff. This last year, my brother and I have started taking stuff to the local in-person auction house once a month, and we've done really well with that. And this is really the first year we've done that. Um, one thing I've always been huge on is just diversification.
Mhm.
I always see people post, this whatnot looks good. Should I quit listing on eBay and move over to whatnot? Or it's like you can do more than one thing at a time, and there's always going to be slowdowns on whatever platform you're on. And I think being at least somewhat diversified. You don't necessarily have to be as diversified as I am, because I'm definitely got a lot of irons in the fire. But um, I tend to see like if eBay's slow, Etsy will pick up, or my boost will pick up, and um, and every once in a blue moon, the planets align right, and like every marketplace I'm on has a good month. So, and those are the months that I'm always look forward to. So,
That's
Yeah,
cool.
I've been thinking about starting Etsy again. I used to sell like my personal clothing brand over there, but I'm trying to just do the antique books over there now. I've heard a lot of people in like the Paper Gold book club we're in, me and Jefferson, a lot of people are doing Etsy and they said it's doing really well. So
yeah, and
I need to add
I
it.
found with Etsy, I tend to charge a little more. So, like
I've
my
heard, yeah.
strategy with the marketplaces, so I do free shipping even with the postal increases on every platform except Etsy and Poshmark. I mean, Poshmark shipping's baked in, so you don't really have a free shipping you can do. But Etsy, I do calculated shipping on everything.
Mhm.
So, I charge about not quite the same base price I do on the other platforms, but pretty close to it. Then plus they're paying shipping, so I tend to have a little higher margin on Etsy, and that's probably my second biggest platform just in revenue among all the online places I sell.
Okay. Is that cost? I mean, I know they have fees, but do you have to pay? I've heard you had to pay $30 up front and you get paid back 6 months later or something. Have you heard anything like that?
No, I haven't heard that. Now, you
No.
know, the thing with Etsy is it's 20 cents per listing, and they renew every, is it 3 months, I think? So, you know, you do have to take that into account that, you know, so if you have 1,000 listings at some point over that time, you know, you're going to have, you know, 30 cents per each of those listings when they renew at various times.
They did change the rule that you do have to pay to start an Etsy
That's what I-
account now.
Okay. See, I've been
Yeah.
on Etsy so long.
Yeah, I
that was
have an
not in
Etsy account.
place
It's
when-
old before that, but
Yeah,
I think like a year ago they changed the rule. You got to
Okay.
pay so
Yeah,
much
it's like
to start. one.
$30, but then they pay back if you're on there for like 6 months or something, maybe
Yeah,
3
yeah.
months. I have an Etsy, but it's for my clothing line, which I want to brand my eBay and Book Dust Media for my eBay store and everything together. So I just have to start a new one because I can't. I've been on there yesterday all day trying to figure out how to change the name. I can't change my store name, so I guess I'll have to make a new one.
Speaking of changes, usually the first part of July, when July hits in the calendar year, most states change or add new laws.
Changes.
What is going on?
I
You
don't
know what
me
I'm
and
saying?
Jefferson are singing.
They change or add new laws. Get this. In the state of Hawaii, they have now made it illegal to laugh out loud. Instead, they want a low ha.
Where do you get your news? I don't think that's real.
That's a dad joke that sucks. It
Yeah,
wasn't even funny enough to make you think it was a joke.
I know. I didn't. Was it supposed to be a joke?
Aloha.
Aloha.
Instead of laughing out loud. Oh,
You
man.
got mad because
bad.
me and Jefferson are goofing off singing songs like you had something important to say over there.
Yeah, I know.
And
I was
you
like,
said a
oh, we
stupid
messed
joke.
up.
'Cause y'all didn't want y'all messing with my timing, dude. How often do I sit here and tell jokes? That's Jefferson's department.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Ba-dum.
Oh my goodness. Well,
I just got it.
anyway, want to jump right back in real quick and revisit the meetup that's going to be happening September 26th through 28th. Starts on Friday night, goes through Sunday, free event. How do you reserve your seats? You go to the Resellers Locker Room Podcast Facebook group page, click on the event tab. There is a link there that you click on to submit your reservation for you and a guest. If you'd like to become a sponsor, if you can't attend but you want to contribute to the cause, you can also find a sponsorship link right in that same area that you can fill out and then make your contribution through Venmo. And we will be sure to put all that to use to give all the attendees the best event possible. So seating is becoming limited, as I had said, Stuart, on your all show. And about every week, it seems to climb in attendance as time approaches. It'll be here before you know it. So we encourage you, come out and see us in East Tennessee in Greenville, G Vegas.
Well, how big does the attendance have to get before you have to start paying the fire marshal off or anything there at the Moose Lodge?
Oh, yeah. Well, because it's a private club, we don't have to worry about that. But
all right,
we'll just take over. We're on one side of it, so we can just take over the other side, right?
The other side, yeah. There's two sides of the building. We can just take over the whole thing, So,
Stuart, best pick, best find of all time.
Oh, so probably my best find ever. I went to a Goodwill here in Knoxville one time, and as soon as I walked in the door, there were these 6 pieces of artwork, like just laying against like where the shopping carts are, kind of right next to that. And at the time, especially, I did not know much about art, but they just I could tell they were cool. And they were, I think, $10 a piece. So I thought, and I had a 20% off coupon. So I think I paid whatever, $54 plus tax, because that was before I had a tax number. And so I get them home and I Google like the artist, and he had his own Wikipedia page. And I thought, this is probably good. And I'm trying to think of the guy's name, Paul, and I'm going to mispronounce his last name, but it's like Jacquelet. He was a French guy. And it turns out that these were woodblock paintings, and they were all like these erotic kind of androgynous looking people. with just like really cool colors. And he was the only person outside of Japan who was considered like a master woodblock carver to make these woodblock prints. And I ended up selling each of them for anywhere between $400 to $800.
Whoa. Wow.
And mostly, I think I sold 5 of them online and then one in my booth. It was like one of the first big things I sold in my booth. And so in the weird thing on one, I got to sell one of them twice. So this one guy who lived out in Seattle had bought one and he got it and I got feedback and everything. Then he bought another one, and then literally like 5 months later, this thing comes back to me. The box was all beat up. It said, nobody at this address or whatever. So I reached out to the guy. I mean, I messaged him, never heard anything. Waited another like 4 or 5 months and never, kind of just put it aside, and then ended up reselling it again. Finally, the only thing I can think of is maybe he died or something. Because I mean, literally, it was like he had fallen off the face of the earth. So I actually sold 7 of them, with one of them being sold twice. But yeah, that's probably monetarily my best like single pick ever.
Wow, that's crazy.
Do you have a bucket list item you'd like to find in the resale? Is there anything that you've really been looking for?
I bet that guy voted twice too.
Yeah, he might have.
He's still voting.
Not really. I mean, I just like, especially doing vintage and antique. It's just the thrill of the hunt is so great in this area because you just never know what you're going to find. And I've found some, like probably my coolest find ever was it was probably a stack of 50 letters from the 1800s. They were just in somebody's closet. And I think it was an estate sale. And this one particular estate sale I go to, they're, I don't know if you'd call it real good or real bad, but they don't end up like finding everything or tagging everything. So there's a lot of opportunity to go like open closets and just start digging. And I found this box, and I was like, hey, I found this box with all these letters. How much? They said, how about $20? I'm like, okay. So I get home, and there was one letter in there that was like 9 pages long. It was written on letterhead from a Pennsylvania railroad station, and it was written from Tullahoma, Tennessee, in a Civil War camp, from the soldier back to his wife back in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
And it just had all kind of details about like the battles he'd been in, and like, how bored they'd get because they'd tell them we're going so and so tomorrow, and then nope, we gotta, we're just gonna sit here another day. And so it was just a lot of information. And being in Tennessee, it was really cool because it was a lot of places I'd heard of. And I think I ended up selling that for like $300.
Nice.
Just that one letter.
How are you coming up? Because a lot of these things are one-off items where you're not finding sold comps. So how are you coming up with prices?
A lot of times on those, I will end up doing auctions on things like that and kind of let the market set the value. And that was an auction. Yeah. By the way, my book ended up, it ended up selling for 28, so a little less than what I thought, but I paid $2 for it. So, and it was, it was a dog condition. It had all kind of water damage, and a lot of the pages in the back you couldn't really even open because
I thought you were waiting to win an auction, not your selling.
No, I sold something. It was a book I found at a thrift shop for $2, and then it sold for 28. So hey, good return there. But yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of things you can't set a value on. I will do auctions. I probably do one auction a month. Most everything I do is buy it now, but yeah, you're right though. It's hard to set values on some things that are one-offs like that. You can just get an idea from, hey, what have other Civil War letters sold from? And it's a lot of times so dependent upon subject matter. And, like if you had something written from Shiloh or something like that, it'd probably be worth a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Now, are you using AI now that it's available for researching?
Yeah, I am. I actually use it to help with listing too. I've trained ChatGPT to, since I cross post, I'll upload pictures, usually just put measurements in my prompt, and it spits out, 6 titles for my different platforms, then one description that I use on all platforms, then I have it return me 5 eBay comps and 5 just miscellaneous comps.
Nice.
And then it's just a, cut and paste basically into List Perfectly, and then push it out to the marketplaces. And I mean, I think it sped my listing up quite a bit because I just don't have to think about it much. I mean, I still will skim the listing to make sure it's not saying anything stupid, but overall it does a pretty good job with what it returns. And I've told it, don't use flowery language, and it's just taken time over time. It's kind of learned how I like it to sound, I guess.
Yeah.
It's bad when you start saying thank you and please and stuff to the AI engine. It's kind of creepy, but yeah, it's been a good tool, and I use it a lot.
Ben
for
says
research.
goodnight.
Shut
to his, so.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up, Alex. Shut up.
But actually, there was an article that came out.
No.
There's an article that came out that says every time you say thank you or
Yeah, it's
please
$1
or
million.
whatever, it charges them an extra $11.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because then I asked it. I said, "Hey, every time I'm telling you thank you, is it costing this much money?" And it came back with this big long response about why it's why there is some processing cost, but you can't put a price on human kindness and blah blah
There you
blah.
go. Nice.
So Ben,
yeah,
you
I mean,
still
I
say
use
goodnight.
AI
Human
a bunch
kindness.
for a lot of stuff.
So, speaking of the future of reselling, Stuart, do you think live selling is predominantly in the future going to be the thing to do over static listing for a number of different reasons? One, you ain't got to set and list a bunch of stuff constantly. Two, you can flip. From what I've witnessed, you flip merchandise faster.
Yeah.
You're not holding on to it forever like you are with static listings and eBay, and you got crap all in your house waiting for it to sell. When you can do a live and just flood through it, even at a lower price point, you're going after quantity, $1 here, $2 there, $5 there. It all adds up, right? So what do you think the future of reselling is?
I think the live selling is going to be real dependent on what people are selling. And I mean, certain things, and I've seen this in ephemera. I mean, the market starts to get so flooded with people selling postcards, for example, that I used to sell postcards on Whatnot, and I could sell 30 postcards and get $50, $60. Now those same 30 postcards, might bring 10 or 15. I mean, and Johnny's seen the same things with hats. He's talked about he used to do really well with hats on Whatnot, and then certain things, I sell a ton of glassware. My wife calls me the China King in Knoxville because I sell so much dinnerware and stuff like that. And I did some early on live selling with glassware. And I mean, I'm not scared to ship anything. I mean, breakables are 99% or probably not that high, but a big percentage of what I ship. But the problem with Whatnot is, if one person buys 10 things, the whole bundling thing gets very complicated. And Whatnot, even if you set up the right shipping profiles and stuff, I mean, it still gets all jacked up. And so, I mean, I don't know. And people who haven't sold before trying to live sell, and I do think live selling is going to continue to be a part of it, but I think static listings are always going to be a part of it too, because there's just certain things that don't lend themselves to live selling. And then plus, not everybody can do it. I mean, there's some people who don't like to be on camera for whatever reason. So, who knows? I do wonder if what the kind of stuff I sell will continue to be viable, as my customer base ages. I think I mentioned at the very beginning, I am at least a little encouraged because I do see a ton of younger people coming in the antique malls now. I think antiques are starting to come back around to younger people. So, I don't know. It's hard to look in the crystal ball and say exactly. I know at one point, everyone's like live selling's going to completely take over and that's all anybody's going to do. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know that it will ever be that.
Well, one of the things that rarely gets discussed let's talk about eBay specifically. One thing that's never discussed, especially in the YouTube community, when you watch videos, they talk about summer slowdown and, oh, it's the economy, everybody's saving their money to go on vacation. But what's really never even discussed is the amount of people that are on the eBay platform trying to sell something.
Yeah.
So, and then us YouTubers get the blame for growing the seller market because we're on YouTube telling everybody how to do it and how much money, we're making and what we're getting for this and what we're getting for that. Some people would say that's just inviting more competition into the eBay platform, and you wonder why sales are not like they used to be. I think that's a huge factor that a lot of sellers don't discuss, and I think it's true.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some impact from YouTube channels, but I mean, I would guess, I don't know what eBay's revenue is, but there's a lot of customers out there, and I would say a big percentage of them never turned YouTube on.
Yeah.
Well,
And
let me rephrase. I didn't mean to put it that it's YouTube's fault. I meant to say there are so many people going on eBay to sell something.
yeah,
The seller space is more crowded now, let's say, than it was 2 years ago.
oh, absolutely. And I think that's a product of a lot of things. I mean, COVID was a big factor in that. I mean, when
Yep.
people couldn't go out, everybody started selling online. Um, I do think probably equal or more so the YouTube channels you had, like your American Pickers and Pawn Stars and all these that, um, Auction Kings, all those kind of shows, people watch that. Oh, this looks, I can make a bunch of money doing that. And, Storage Wars or whatever show you want to pick out.
Yeah.
I think the summer slowdown a lot. And one thing that I think a lot of times that's on the sellers too, because not only your buyers might be on vacation, but people probably tend not to list as much in the summer because you're outside, you're on vacation, you're doing this, you're doing that. And, I've learned that it's kind of funny how it works, but the more I list, the more I sell in general. And, I do find myself not listing as much in the summer months because I want to be outside doing stuff too. But
That's a valid point.
And if you look it up, the year-over-year sellers is going down, not going up.
Really?
Yeah,
it might
so
have
if you look at,
skyrocketed during COVID, but look how many
Yeah.
people never used to shop online now shop
Yeah.
online because of
yeah,
Yeah.
that.
so
So you have that, the other
2019,
side of the coin.
2019, 21.1 million. In 2020, there's 18.3 million sellers. So we've lost 3 million sellers, and I think that's going to go down even more because now the you can't make $20,000. So I think and honestly, I got into my mom resold and would hit like 19.5, and then she's selling her husband's stuff. So I think there's people that have set incomes that are selling on there that now won't be able to because they have to like gain actually.
well,
Yeah, I've always paid
that's
every
gone.
time.
That's gone now with the big beautiful bill. That's effective immediately. They went back to the 20,000
Oh,
and
okay.
200
Missed that.
transactions. So, yep. So yeah, you're. To me, it didn't matter because I report everything anyway.
Me too. But
Yeah,
I mean,
the
200 transactions is still
Yeah,
not
that's
that
not
much.
that many. Yeah.
no,
Right.
that's
Either
not. But it's the 20,000 and it's not or. So,
Yeah.
the
Oh, it's and not or. Okay.
yeah. Where I thought the 1099 at the 600 limit was kind of ridiculous. It wasn't so much
I
for
agree.
people selling on eBay. It was for like your Venmo and PayPal, where you're getting people sending you money for meals, and then the burden's on you to prove that that's not income. That's just reimbursements, and
Yeah.
who keeps every receipt to be able to prove that your friend, that you paid for your friend's meals. So I'm glad they put it back to 20,000. But yeah, that's a good point. That there's less sellers now, but there probably are more buyers who've stuck around buying online. We literally hardly ever step in a store anymore. We order all our groceries online. We do pretty much everything online.
Well, those are valid points you all brought up. Another one I think too that would lead to the decrease of sellers on eBay specifically is I know quite a few resellers who've left eBay just to live sell.
Yeah.
So I think live selling is eating into that eBay platform of static sale because other sellers are finding better results through the live method.
Mm-hmm.
And so, hey, sell it however you can sell it's what I say. I don't care what you do, what you sell it on, as long as you sell it and make money. That's all that matters, right?
eBay's probably going to get more sellers because more and more people keep leaving Amazon because they keep just doing retarded things over on Amazon. More people leaving Amazon and are discovering that you can still make a living selling on eBay.
Well, I'll tell you though what doesn't help, and I've said this on this show before. Matter of fact, I've said it last year. Post office raises their rates 2 and 3 times a year. I said it last year. I'll say it again. It's going to get to where cost to ship an item is going to cost more than what you're asking for an average item. And that's crazy. You know,
Sell
something
better
that,
items.
Sell better items, yeah.
well, still, you
Sell
take
books, sell better items.
you take a $20 item and it costs $15 to ship it. You're going to have to mark your price down because they're paying more in shipping than what the value.
I never worry about that because I always charge and I overcharge all my customers anyways. So I never worry about the shipping at all. It don't matter.
Right.
They're still, if they want the item and it's a good enough item, they're gonna pay the money to get the item sent to them and they'll pay it. So I'm not worried about that one bit. And I'll still say that 1 pound book is 5 pounds.
All right,
All
Stuart. I want to know your favorite movie and the worst movie you ever saw.
Well, one of my favorite movies is probably Caddyshack, and then one of my worst movies is Caddyshack 2. But
There you go. That's a good call. Caddyshack 2 sucked.
Wait. Speaking of golf movies and a good movie, the Happy Gilmore. Did Happy Gilmore 2 come out and did it suck?
It hasn't come out yet, but it'll be
it
exclusively to I think Amazon or Netflix, one of the two. I think it's Netflix.
It seems
You can
like
go to
Yeah, I
Subway and buy the collector cups. They have those at Subway.
I don't want soggy bread though.
Yeah.
And every time I say no pickles, they look me dead in the eyes and they put pickles on my sandwich. And I'm like, I said no pickles.
You know, when Subway used to put the same stuff that was in yoga mats in their bread, the bread was better. I'm just saying.
Okay, we've
they
gone off
ruined
the
it.
rails.
It's stay risen all day.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
We can go back to reselling, but sometimes you need to just talk about sandwiches.
Exactly. Sometimes you need a foot long.
A $5 foot long.
Exactly. Or you do it 3 times, whatever it takes. But
Don't name drop that. We don't get paid to promote their stuff.
I was about to sing the jingle.
Footlongs in a while.
Jefferson buys
like
the party
14
sandwich
bucks.
just for himself.
Exactly.
Stuart, I don't know, brother. You see what I got to deal with every week?
We've been good the whole time. Stuart's been very entertaining, and we haven't done anything stupid. That's
Hey, I do have Rocky Top t-shirts, ladies and gentlemen. You can
When'd you get that? Have you always had those?
yeah.
I've never seen one of those before. You had
Double-sided.
You had to bring them back because let's talk about it, Rocky Top.
Yeah.
How long has it been since you put out a YouTube video? Because you put out a new YouTube video. You're
put
out
out
of
a new-
retirement.
Yeah. My last video I uploaded was October of 24.
wow.
And well, since then I'd done a live on the channel, and that was, I think I did that last month. But I put out a new video, thanks for mentioning, and it is a Amazon mystery box reveal video where I went into Stewart's backyard and bought 6 Amazon mystery boxes, and I opened 3 of them in the latest episode on the Rocky Top Picker channel. So I think what I'm going to do is start doing 1 video a week, opening 1 box a week and going through those items, but do my due diligence before I put the video out and put up the sold comps of the said items that I pull out of the box.
Yeah.
So we may roll with it that direction.
I knew you were going to get Amazon book returns, and you did.
Yeah.
I hope there's
I'm going to go
that.
throw this in my fire pit.
It'd be a good starter.
$4, it ain't worth my time.
Drive back to Knoxville and take it to McKay's, and you'll get 50 cents.
Yeah, that's true. You go to McKay's, Stuart?
You know, I used to go just to look in the free bin. I mean, I pulled some pretty good books out of the free bin. Because you know what I learned with McKay's, like they don't really, it's not really about value to them or what it's worth. It's about how quickly it's going to sell. You know, they're not going to put something on their shelf that's going to sit there for 6 months. So, you know, you can take a pretty valuable book in there and they won't buy it. And then they just throw it in the free bin. And I've sold some, I think the most expensive thing I sold, it was some, was some like Christian commentary from like 1902 or something, and I think I sold it for $60. So
Nice.
So, not bad on a $0 investment. But I haven't been in a long time. It's always so crowded there, and it's hard to get in and out of the parking lot.
Yeah, it is crazy there. I still take books over there. I'll do like 3 boxes of what I consider dud, like under $9 on eBay. And I'll get like 65 for 3 boxes of books, $40 to $65. So I'll make money. I could make money just by going to the Goodwill bins here and taking it over to McKay's. I mean, there's multiple people. That's their whole business, is finding things at the bins in Nashville, taking them to McKay's and selling them.
Whatever your hustle is.
I guess I've been to those Goodwill bins a couple of times. I lived in Nashville for almost 20 years, but once I moved back to Knoxville, I was still working in Nashville, and my office was over there behind Cool Springs Mall in the old Service Merchandise building, actually. And so I would come to Nashville a couple of times a month and go to the bins. But
Service merchandise was a weird thing. Right? You go pick it out from the case, then you'd stand by the conveyor for them to roll it out to you.
Yeah,
that was odd. But
here is a great. Did he freeze?
No, he did. Oh, he did for a second.
Okay, go ahead, Jefferson.
No, I'm just saying, service merchandise was a weird business model. Yeah, you buy it, and then you'd pick it out on the floor, then they'd pick it from the warehouse and bring it to you.
All right, Stuart, here's a geographical question, my friend. You have stated you lived in Nashville. You live in Knoxville, and you've been to Greenville, correct?
I have. I used to come to the auction there. So
now, compare Nashville to Knoxville for the audience who does not know the difference. What are some differences between Nashville and Knoxville?
Well, Nashville, my son lives there, and he's 25, and he says he's already too old to be living there because like everybody there now is like, in their 20s, and what is it? The bachelorette party.
I keep getting older. They stay the same age.
But yeah, I mean, Nashville. So when I lived in Nashville, I moved from there 18 years ago. And when I first moved to Nashville in 91, that was before they closed Opryland down. And so you still had like the whole downtown area was completely different. Now Nashville is like, the traffic is it's like terrible. And I mean, Knoxville has its rush hour between 4 and 6, but normally it's not. It's got a small town feel. You got the mountains here. It's God's country. Middle Tennessee is not as bad as West Tennessee, but it's still not as good as East Tennessee.
Okay,
but you don't. You got Vanderbilt there. That's one problem.
Yeah,
but Nashville is more beautiful, so we got that.
So Nashville is really spread out. It's really big, a lot of traffic, right? Knoxville, not quite as big, has rush hour scenarios, but it's still different living in Knoxville than it is Nashville.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you still have somewhat of a small town feel. Not as small town as Greenville, but
now,
or it's just been.
Compare Nashville, Knoxville to Greenville for our audience and for those watching that are going to be here in September, like you.
Well, if you like open fields, cows, things of that nature, Greenville's the place for you. I mean, it's beautiful country, but I mean, in Greenville itself, I mean, y'all have some stuff. I mean, you have some restaurants there, but it's still very rural and agricultural, and but it's beautiful. You got the mountains in the background.
Well, what I was going after, Stuart, was Greenville is nothing like Knoxville or Nashville. For those that have been to Nashville or Knoxville and try to simulate what Greenville's like, I'm trying to show the range of differences. So when he says it's small town, he's right. It's small. not as small as some friends of mine from Ohio. Their population is like 500 people, and they have one red light downtown. Greenville is not that small, but yeah. So yeah, I just wanted to contrast the differences between Nashville, Knoxville, Greenville.
I mean, would the Moose Lodge be the social center of Greenville?
Nope.
Okay. So,
No, I can think of some other places that.
Central circle of his social life.
Yeah, it's sad.
well, that room, when I was in college, I did not go to UT. I went to Tennessee Tech, and just kind of for the same reason, my kids, it was so close to home, I wanted to get away. But, I went to a school that did nothing to, have any effect on my loyalty to UT. Because when I was in school at Tech, I think they lost 30 straight football games. They were like one away from beating the all-time record at the time, which Columbia held. And they actually won, and everybody was all upset that we didn't break the record. But we used to go to the Elks Lodge in Cookeville. And, even though Cookeville was a dry county, you could go join the club and you could drink liquor by the drink. So
I will say Greenville's also home to Tusculum University, which it costs more to go there, which the university is literally behind my house, basically. It costs more to go there than it does UT. It's crazy. I don't know.
Over there, we can go streaking to the university.
That'll be you at 3 in the morning.
And the university, they have over the years, they have purchased houses that adjoin the campus over here, and they've turned them into frat houses and dorms and where the students live. Yeah, it gets crazy when that's in session over there. Crazy.
Go over there and start a fraternity.
There you go.
Yeah.
So, Ben's not allowed 3 miles from the houses.
Nope. I'm under house arrest. No, I'm just kidding. All right. If y'all don't have anything else, Stuart, it has been a pleasure, my friend, to have a fellow Tennessee guy in this show.
Yeah, thanks for having me. This was a good time. I'd love to come back and have one or all of you on our show again sometime. We enjoyed having Ben last week. So
yeah, and that episode drops tomorrow, you said?
Yeah, tomorrow at 10 o'clock. So you can just search for Founders Flippers Resell Podcast. You can actually find us on Spotify, Apple, and iHeartRadio. I think we're all West.
You guys are more of a podcast than we are.
Yeah, we need to get on Spotify, people.
I don't know. Wes takes care of all that. So I just know we're on YouTube. And even if you listen to us on those other shows, you need to subscribe on YouTube because we do have all the shorts and stuff that we put on there. So
awesome.
Well, Stuart, we'll get together sometime, hopefully maybe before the meetup since we're close, and go do some picking. And if that don't work out, we'll see you here in Greenville in September. I know all of us look forward to spending some time with you. And tell everybody you can to go to the Facebook group page of the locker room, fill out your admission form or your attendance form, and get in here to this meetup. First time ever. It's going to be awesome.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. And we do need to get together before. I need to bring you all the giveaways. So,
yes,
at some point before, because I told Mary that it didn't make sense for me to mail them to her and then her when I'm just, mailing all these jams and jellies would have gotten expensive. So,
but they'll be all dipped into by the time the meetup comes. Ben will stuck his finger in every one.
Well, I'll tell you what, Stuart, we can plan next time I'm down in Knoxville going to my Amazon outlet to get some mystery boxes. We can meet up there and go to Waffle House, and then you can give me all your stuff, and that way you don't have to worry about shipping.
All right. I'm always down for some scattered, smothered, and covered. So
that's right. All right. On behalf of Jefferson, Alex, and myself, and Stuart, go check out his podcast. They do a great job, those fellows over there. And most of them are from Tennessee, and the other ones, well, we won't talk about because they're out of staters. No, I'm kidding. All the guys over there are great. Catch us every Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube. Goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you soon.